Birdees presents a Christmas special. The Little Match Girl, read to you by Berlin. Hans Christian Andersen's classic tale, retold by David Warner. Paintings by Greg Newbold. It was nearly nightfall. The orphan girl blinked away thick snowflakes falling in her eyes. Everyone in the great city was bundled and busy, heads down, eyes fixed on the black cobblestone, peeking up through packed snow. A wagon spewed freezing slush across the girl's loosely wrapped feet.
"Out of the way!"
Its heavy wheels grumbled, but the shivering child was not afraid and did not step back. She stood bravely, silently, holding out all she had in the world, her last bundle of wooden matches, saved for selling this Christmas Eve. As the tide of darkness rose in side streets and alleyways, the throngs ebbed across courtyards, around corners, and down dimly lit passageways. Pushed along by the frosty wind, they hurried home for their Christmas giving, passing the little match girl unaware. When finally only stray dogs crisscrossed the empty streets, the frail girl retreated to a corner between two stone houses. Sliding down against the cold wall, she tucked her matches in her pocket and her hands under her arms, lifted her knees and warmed her face in the shreds of a threadbare apron. But she couldn't look down for long. The Christmas stars above were calling her to look up and out. As she did, she spied the yellow lights of a gas lamp, burning atop its cast iron post. It was a small but steady flame, like the faith that flickered in her heart. If only she could climb up and warm herself in its glow. But wait, she thought, digging into her apron pocket, I already have a fire of my own. Drawing a single match from the bundle, she rubbed the tip along the stone wall. Shh! In an instant, the match was blazing before her. As she held her hand in front of the flame, she found herself basking in the glow of a radiant stove. Nearby, a kindly woman was filling the kindling basket to keep the fire burning. And for the first time, the little match girl felt she was not alone. The child stretched out her feet. "Ah, at last!" She smiled. Firelight kissed her delicate fingers and toes, and she wiggled them with delight. The air itself enfolded her in a soft blanket of kindness. But as her eyes closed in relief, the match blew out and the fire disappeared. "No, no, come back!" she cried. Plunging her hands into her apron, she seized another match. Just one more, she thought, hoping to make the friendly hearth reappear. Again, a long golden flame reached up before the child. As she studied its graceful curl, bright lights flickering in her shining eyes, she imagined she was staring into the glow of a magnificent chandelier. Suddenly, the wall of the stone house became transparent, like a veil, and she could see a stately dining room within. Fir garlands, parchment decorations, and Christmas candles adorned the elegant hall. The same gentle woman was laying the table, a soft white cloth. a porcelain platter, a roast goose, and sweetbread brimming with spices and candied fruit. For a moment, the child's lips parted with wonder. But again, as the little girl closed her eyes to breathe in the savory aroma, a snowflake landed on the match, and a wisp of smoke rose into the night air and vanished. "Come back! Come back!" she whispered. Frantically, she reached for another match. Before she could stop herself, she was striking it against the wall. Whoosh! In the flash of light, she saw a sparkling silver ornament. It was held by a woman's graceful hands and carefully placed on the green boughs of a towering Christmas tree. Slowly, the child lifted her eyes up, up, up. 1,000 candlelights, 100,000 facets of beauty and wonder and joy, stars dancing in the sky. Yes, she thought, this is heaven. Even as the child gasped with delight, her eyes closed and the match went out. The brilliant stars tumbled down, and in their shimmering tails the great tree disappeared. Bowing her head, she pushed her frozen chin into her chest, where warm tears pooled. Some drops fell onto the freezing hands, and instinctively she covered the last of her matches. A fire in the stove, a feast on the table, candles on the tree. How could these be gone? She wondered. There was something real in them, something alive, something waiting. Believing as only a child can, she lifted the remaining bundle of matches and spoke to them simply. "Can you bring Christmas back? Can you give me that beautiful world again?" With a prayer pounding in her heart, she boldly scraped the cluster of the tips against the wall, all of them at once. For a moment, nothing came, but then, slowly, a single flame took hold and burst into a bouquet of fire. As the little match girl peered into the blaze, she heard a voice she remembered from long ago. "Come, little one." She knew this rustling of skirts, this soft, sweet fragrance. "Grandmother," she whispered. Turning around, "You're here." With a tender sigh, the woman sank to her knees. "As I have always been." Then, like a great swan spreading her wings, the woman wrapped her granddaughter in a shawl of pure white wool. The shreds of the child's gray dress miraculously became a gossamer white gown. Grandmother took her tiny hand, now beautifully pink and perfectly clean, and drew her close. "I have come to you, my child, so you can come with me." As they rose silently into the night, the child felt warmth flow into her feet and legs. Her dress was full now, with petticoats flowing and a pretty blue sash dancing in the winter wind. She looked out. The new white snow sparkled across rooftops as far as she could see, and moonlight transformed the river into a silvery satin ribbon. For just a moment, the little match girl looked down into the corner between the two stone houses. Alas, a waif was resting quietly against the wall, burned-out matchsticks scattered around her, a smile of perfect contentment on her lips. "When I come back, I will bring that brave child more Christmas matches, she thought to herself. I'll bring a whole bundle of them. Squeezing her grandmother's hand, she looked up into the warm, lustrous light. Stars were gathering in the open portals, waiting to dance with her for joy. She would never look down again. The next morning, people passing by glanced at the child's body and turned their eyes away. They could only imagine she had been abandoned there, alone in the darkness. But the truth is, she never was alone. She had drawn on the light she had, on everything within her, to kindle the visions of Christmas. And in return, Christmas had brought her the love of family, the mercy of heaven, and a pathway home. As thick snowflakes fell in the little match girl's eyes, her tears were washed away, and the fire in her heart burned on, bright and strong forever. The end. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Tap the bell to be notified for new video uploads. Thanks for watching and joining me on my reading adventures. See you next time on Book Birdies.